Ethics are fundamental in medicine. They are the guiding principles for those who heal. Doctors and researchers rely on them every single day. Patients place immense trust in these ethical standards. This bond of trust between healer and patient is sacred. However, times of great conflict can distort noble ideals. War casts a long and menacing shadow over society. It can twist even the most respected professions. The Second World War was a period of such profound crisis. It presented unprecedented ethical challenges to humanity. World War II spread across the globe. It brought with it unimaginable destruction and suffering. During this chaotic time, some medical research took a disturbing path. The immense pressures of warfare were a driving factor. The relentless pursuit of military advantage was paramount for some. In certain regimes, the value of individual human life was tragically diminished. This created a terrifying environment for abuse to occur. Scientific inquiry, a tool for progress, became horribly corrupted. The usual moral compass guiding medical practice was lost by some. This dark chapter demands our careful understanding. The context for these events was often one of extreme ideology. Pernicious ideas of racial superiority were actively promoted. Certain groups of people were systematically labeled as inferior. This dangerous thinking infiltrated many institutions. It tragically included elements within the medical community. The normal ethical safeguards designed to protect human subjects disappeared. Vulnerable individuals, often prisoners, became defenseless targets for exploitation. This represented a profound betrayal of core medical principles. It all unfolded under the dark cloak of global conflict. The world was not fully aware until much later. Experiments were conducted ostensibly in the name of science, but these procedures utterly lacked any moral or ethical foundation. They were not designed to heal or benefit those subjected to them. Instead, human beings were treated merely as means to an end. The research frequently aimed to support military objectives. Sometimes it was driven by deeply flawed and cruel racial theories. The immense human cost and suffering were deliberately ignored. This period marked a horrifying and deeply shameful chapter. It stands as a stark warning in the annals of medical history. We must learn from these grievous errors. The most fundamental principle in medicine is do no harm. This guiding ethic, primum non nocere, was systematically violated. Informed consent is another absolute cornerstone of ethical research. Patients and research subjects must understand and agree to procedures. During this dark era, such consent was rarely, if ever, sought. It was often impossible for the victims to offer any refusal. They were prisoners, deprived of their freedom and basic rights. Their voices were cruelly silenced by oppressive regimes. They had no advocates to speak on their behalf. This lack of agency was a critical component of the abuse. Consider the harrowing experiments related to the high-altitude survival. These were intended to benefit Air Force pilots in combat. Prisoners were subjected to dangerously low-pressure chamber conditions. The suffering inflicted upon these individuals was extreme and inhumane. Similarly, cruel freezing experiments were also carried out. The stated goal was to find treatments for hypothermia in soldiers. But the methods used on unwilling human subjects were barbaric. These tests crossed every conceivable ethical and moral boundary. They demonstrated a chilling and profound disregard for human life. The pursuit of knowledge became a veil for cruelty. Other forms of unethical research involved deliberate infection. Scientists, under duress or by conviction, studied dangerous diseases. They infected prisoners with pathogens like typhus or malaria. This was done to test potential vaccines or new treatments. Once again, these individuals were not voluntary participants in science. They were victims exploited due to their coercive circumstances. The pursuit of scientific knowledge, however urgent it may seem, can never justify the use of such inhumane methods. The inherent dignity of each and every individual was ignored. This period serves as an indelible and grim reminder for us all. These terrible actions were not merely isolated incidents. They formed part of a wider, systematic pattern in specific contexts. The ethical breaches committed were profound and deeply shocking. They starkly contradicted centuries of established medical tradition. The Hippocratic Oath, a pledge to ethical conduct, was forsaken by some. Humanity's capacity for cruelty was starkly and tragically laid bare. The sacred trust between the doctor and the patient was shattered. The far-reaching consequences of this betrayal continue to resonate. They echo through the corridors of medicine even today. We are still grappling with the weight of this history. When the Second World War finally drew to its bloody close, the world began to learn the full extent of the atrocities. Allied forces, as they liberated occupied territories, uncovered evidence. Countless documents, photographs, and survivor testimonies revealed the horrors. The unethical medical experiments were a significant part of this dark discovery. The global community was forced to confront these unbearable truths. It was a painful, yet absolutely necessary period of reckoning. A demand for justice for the multitude of victims arose worldwide. The perpetrators of these crimes had to be held accountable. This was a crucial step towards healing and understanding. The Nuremberg doctors' trial was a truly landmark historical event. It convened in Nuremberg, Germany from 1946 to 1947. 23 German physicians and administrators faced prosecution. They were charged with heinous war crimes and crimes against humanity. The trial meticulously detailed the horrific nature of the experiments. It brought these egregious medical abuses to global public attention. This was a critical, formative moment for both legal and ethical history. Some defendants were convicted and sentenced for their actions, others were acquitted, but the issues raised were profound. The world watched, and the world learned. From the proceedings of this momentous trial emerged the Nuremberg Code. This document outlined 10 essential research ethics principles. It was specifically created for guiding human experimentation in the future. The code emphatically stressed the necessity of voluntary informed consent. It clearly stated that research must be scientifically valid and necessary. It mandated that all research must avoid unnecessary physical and mental suffering. And, crucially, the anticipated benefits must always outweigh the potential risks. This document became a foundational pillar for modern medical ethics. It was a direct and powerful response to the wartime abuses. Its influence on research practices continues to this day. The shocking revelations from the war forced a deep global reflection. How could trained medical professionals commit such unspeakable acts? What institutional safeguards had so catastrophically failed? The Nuremberg Code was an important first step, but only a beginning. International organizations and national governments started to act. They began developing much stricter regulations and oversight mechanisms. The medical profession itself engaged in widespread and serious soul-searching. The undeniable need for robust, independent ethical oversight became clear. This period irrevocably changed the landscape of medical research. It ensured that such horrors would be harder to repeat. The lessons learned from that profoundly dark chapter remain vital. Modern medical ethics are in many ways built upon this tragic history. We now possess detailed and comprehensive international guidelines. These guidelines meticulously govern all research involving human subjects. The painful memory of past abuses directly shapes current medical practices. It serves as a constant reminder of the potential for misuse of science. Unwavering vigilance is always necessary in the medical field. Protecting fundamental human dignity is paramount in all endeavors. This principle must guide every decision and every action. It is the bedrock of ethical medicine. Informed consent is now an absolutely non-negotiable global standard. Patients and research participants must fully understand all aspects. This includes the potential risks and the possible benefits. They must agree freely, without coercion, to participate in research. Institutional review boards or ethics committees now exist. These independent committees carefully scrutinize all research proposals. They ensure that research is conducted in an ethical manner. They provide special protection for vulnerable populations. These are direct and lasting legacies of the post-war reforms. They act as crucial, indispensable safeguards for humanity. Yet ethical challenges within medicine continue to arise and evolve. New scientific advancements and technologies bring new dilemmas. Areas like genetic research, artificial intelligence in healthcare, and global health emergencies present complex ethical questions. Remembering the profound ethical failures of World War II is crucial. It helps us to navigate these new and challenging frontiers responsibly. Comprehensive education about this history is essential for all. This is especially true for medical and research professionals. It fosters a strong and resilient culture of ethical awareness. This awareness is our best defense against repeating past mistakes. We must never, ever forget the countless victims of these experiments. Their immense suffering, unwillingly endured, led to profound changes. These changes aim to protect all future generations from similar harm. Reflecting seriously on these historical events is not merely academic, it is a profound moral imperative for all of humanity. It reinforces our collective and individual commitment to human rights. It ensures that the practice of medicine always serves humanity. It must do so with unwavering compassion, respect, and integrity. The dark shadows of the past must illuminate our path forward. May we always choose the light of ethical conduct